Hi everyone. In today's session, I would like to talk about psychology in the diverse context of India. India has a very rich and complex tradition of psychology. It has originated from a different ontology and epistemology. Plurality and multiplicity of ideas are the roots of this psychology. Religious and spiritual understanding is strong in this tradition. At the same time, it accommodated multiple voices. So instead of one psychology, there is a possibility of different psychologies in India. When we look at the mental health traditions, India has an extensive variety of indigenous traditions for healing. According to Kakar, the diversity and astonishing variety and number of practitioners can make a stranger to the country feel that healing in its manifold aspect is a central individual and cultural preoccupation. Let's watch a small video clip on this aspect. Understanding mental health in India requires understanding multiple belief systems that guide conceptions of personhood, health, and healing. For many individuals in rural India, faith healing is typically the first form of help sought, and a number of studies have demonstrated its importance in mental health. For example, Mohan in 1972 conducted a study in North India and pointed out that 84% of cases being seen in psychiatric institution had been to a local temple consultation with a shaman prior to their attendance. Rajaram in 1976, a study from South India, expressed psychiatric consultation was sought only after outside management, including religious and faith healing. Bergra in 1997, a survey was carried out by Bergra in 1997 over a 3-month period to determine experiences of religious healing in a group of 198 consecutive psychiatric patients attending a hospital in Tamil Nadu, South India. Of this, 89, that is 45%, had sought between 1 and 15 sessions from either Hindu, Muslim or Christian healers. Charles Manoranjitham and Jacob pointed out that majority of patients and their relatives endorse multiple and contradictory explanatory model of schizophrenia. It is interesting to note that despite the relevance of these culturally based explanatory models and culturally preferred forms of help seeking, the academic world maintained a distance from its cultural heritage and looked down at it with suspicion. Different scholars pointed out that the reason for this distance came from the connection of psychology with colonialism. Basu in 2004 argued that the mainstream modern psychology comes to India along with the colonialism. Mishra 2003 also supported his argument. He added that the colonial incursion was so powerful that while Western concepts were accepted and welcomed without scrutiny, indigenous concepts were denied entry to the academic discourse. According to Sinha in 1986, the modern Indian psychology began its journey by imitating the research problems, concepts, theories and methods borrowed from the research done in Western countries. Since the discipline was imitative, its growth remained always one step behind the development in the donor country. The Western view of mental illness is grounded in 4 major worldviews. 1. A logocentric view, which means rational processes form the basis of understanding and action. 2. Anthropocentrism, where human beings are the center of all the worldly activities and happenings and reassert individualistic perception of the world. 3. Cartesian dualism, where the dichotomy between mind and matter is assumed. 4. Knowledge is secular. These assumptions facilitated the process of control over nature and ideas of progress and modernization. It further supported the postulation that thinking is context free and predominantly rational. It also led to the compartmentalization of knowledge and fixed boundaries between self and others. The Indian way of constructing reality is different. I would like to emphasize on 5 aspects of it. One is context sensitive, space, time and person, which is desha, kala and patra. That is important in determining the course of action. Second important thing is living together in harmony and mutual dependence are the core value of Indian culture. I would like to make a small example to understand this well. In Buddhist tradition, there is a ritual to take permission from the rivers or stream when you construct a house close to it. It looks like very superstitious, but this ritual asserts the idea that human beings are part and parcel of the great whole. The existence of each constituent depends on this harmony. Other major idea of Indian philosophy is about the relational world, which is called the 4 ends of life, purusharthas. Duty, that is dharma; enjoyment, that is kama; earning of wealth, that is artha; release from the eternal cycle of birth, death and rebirth, that is moksha. The idea of purusharthas, 4 ends of life, propose that the person situated in a social, physical and cosmic web of relationship. Absence of mind-body divide. Healing function both of mind and body. A purified mind is calm and thus fit for the flow of higher transcendent consciousness. The most form of yoga, body is a subordinate of mind. The body is a mold into which the mind pours itself. A mold that has been prepared and can be changed by the mind. Impurities of the mind not only lead to mental distress and illness, but also physically translated manifest themselves in the body as diseases. Theory of karma. The law of karma or action is the principle governing everything. Knowledge is for emancipation from suffering and liberation. Human beings are not only agents, karta, or doers, but experiences, that is bhokta. These philosophical ideas are also visible in the concept and management of mental illness in India. Kakar in 2012 pointed out the primacy of human mind in the production suffering in Indian context. He argued that life does not happen to us but through us. That is false to believe that someone outside us is responsible for our distress. An experiential understanding of the true nature of the self is sought through intensive practice of certain meditative, contemplative discipline which do not require the presence of religious beliefs. God may be a great help for spiritual progress, but it is not a necessity. It is seeker's own effort and without the intervention of divine grace. In addition to considering these 5 aspects central to Indian philosophy, it is important to understand the view that normal and sick are indistinct, and that the patient is inherently connected to his family members, both those alive and ancestral spirit. Thus, the involvement and integration of the patient's relatives in the healing process is critical. Many ritual practiced in the traditions require the active participation of these family members. These family members represent a bridge between sick and normal members in the society or family. For example, a ritual called Sangat. If a close relative of the patient prays to the deity that he is ready to take the distress, then the Buddha, that is the spirit, often leaves the patient and possesses the supplicant. This helps the patient to overcome the feeling of isolation and moral worthlessness. In different healing traditions, the genesis of disturbances to the self is not originated from the early family connections, as it may be the case with Western theories of psychopathology such as psychoanalytic and attachment theories. Not only living members of the family, the ancestral spirit also responsible for the problem. In most of the indigenous healing traditions, God can only act through some mediators to resolve the problem. Why this powerful God or deity need a mediator? It reassures the idea that God can act only in relational context. It is a cultural arrangement to rethink about the relational world. For mental health practitioners in India, it is important to be mindful of the client's concession of his or her difficulties that may be grounded in these indigenous worldviews and belief systems. The cultural reading of psychology and mental health in India can help practitioners be familiar with these viewpoints and be effective and culturally competent providers. Thank you. Have a great day.